There will be no division in this group. This is how we want. There will be. There will be no division in this group. This is how we're wired. This is what we put out there. We're foaming at the mouth for our next opportunity. We better be.
And now, time to get in the huddle with your host, Charles Prodigy Ritchie, here on the Mass Steel Podcast.
This thing belongs to Mr. Rooney, belongs here, and let's see if we can bring this damn thing back here next year, along with the Super Bowl. Here we go.
The game is over. The Pittsburgh Steelers did it the hard way.
With the 10th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Devin Bush, linebacker, Michigan.
And welcome back, everybody, to this edition of the Mass Steel Podcast here with me, Charles Prodigy Ritchie. As we are on Wednesday right now, it's usually the injury report as well as practice updates as we get into things here on this very epic anniversary. A very sad one, by the way, which happened about 18 years ago. First and foremost, before we go any further, just want to pay respect to those first responders, a lot of people who lost their lives, the firefighters, everyone who had a hand in trying to save people's lives on the doomsday of all doomsdays that happened on this date back in 2001, September 11th. We'll all remember 9/11, and that will always ring forward, no question about it. So before we go any further, let's take a moment of silence real quick to honor those men and women who served right there. So please, let's take a quick moment at this point in time as we look at it right now. Yeah, and like I said, 9/11, I don't know where everyone was at that point in time. I know it was a devastating day. Ton of people lost their lives, especially on that time, 18 years ago. And just very sad to where it led to where we are today as far as being protective on our country, stay on guard. Unfortunately, a lot more people continue to put their butts on the line, sacrifices, men and women, soldiers, to give us the freedom that we have today here in this great country. And just want to give shout outs to, like I said, the first responders, the firefighters, everyone who had a hand to try and salvage what was left of the disaster that happened in New York and the Twin Towers. And it definitely changed a lot of things, definitely on that day. No doubt about it. But like I said, right now, let's get back to where I was leaving off just a moment ago. We're getting ready to start back right now as we got this today, Wednesday. We finally got the official injury report as far as guys who practice for this week number 2 when the Steelers host the Seattle Seahawks in their home opener. That's going to be happening at Heinz Field in week number 2. Steelers, we looking to avenge their humiliating 30-point dominating defeat that they suffered at the hands of the New England Patriots. A lot of people got reason to believe that this is just only one game, but I still look at it as like many more flaws to correct. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, at this point in time, I don't want to turn the blind eye to anything, but at the same time, we do got to realize, look at things in the mirror, and you got to realize you can't take the style lightly. I mean, if you really think about it, and that's the thing. I mean, when you really think about like the adjustments that they have to be made, it's definitely got to be rhythm. It's definitely got to be defense. Before we get into that too, I want to break a quick story that was reported this morning. I saw this and I shared this last night before I went to sleep, and I woke up to it this morning as Dale Lally officially confirmed it. As we look at it real quick, former offensive lineman, former guard for the Pittsburgh Steelers 1970s team, who was a four-time Super Bowl champion, and it was also on the Steelers' 50th anniversary team. I'm talking about none other than Sam Davis. He passed away, as we found out, at the age of 75 years old, as it was confirmed. This was a guy right here, according to television partner of WPXI, Davis 75 had been reported missing from the New Life Care personal home in McKeesport after walking around 7 a.m. Tuesday. Police later found his body while conducting a search. Davis was suffering from dementia and was legally blind. Again, too, I mean, remember later on this week, we're going to be having the debut of the football life of Terry Bradshaw. And I'm sure Terry Bradshaw's got some thoughts on him right now. Think about it. I mean, one of your old teammates. I mean, anyone from that era was definitely gold, but definitely my thoughts, love, and prayers are also with him, his family, loved one, and friends right now. I mean, what a tragic way to go right there. I can't even imagine what he must have been going through after all these years. I would imagine there had to be some health issues probably that caught up later on from the game. I mean, a lot of these guys who definitely put their butts on the line, and as everyone is aware, football being a hard, demanding sport, as we get to see it here, you never know this true full story of what demons a lot of these athletes go through, what they answer in their lives following this. So definitely just wanted to pay some respect to him right there, as well as people on 9/11 on this day. Also, we also had Art Rooney II, who released a statement on Sam Davis today. He was quoted saying, "We are deeply saddened to hear of the passing of Sam Davis. Sam was a member of the Steelers teams that won 4 Super Bowls in the 1970s, including starting at left guard in Super Bowl 13 and 14. A member of our 50th season and the season all time. He played 13 seasons and was beloved, respected by his teammates, coaches, and staff. Our prayers go out to the entire Davis family during this difficult time." Yeah, like I said, just a very tough loss right there. Heartbroken to hear that. Hoping they were going to be able to find him and they were going to give him some closure, some peace and quiet. But at the same time, as it did not have to be the case when we look at it right there at that point in time. So let's continue to carry on right here as we got a lot more to get into, like I said here, as we keep rolling along here. Also, too, let's go ahead and dive right into it. The injury report, like I was just mentioning a moment ago, as we take a look at it on this day right now. And for this Pittsburgh Steelers right now, as we take a look at it, so far as of right now, there has been 9 guys been listed on the injury report. You got at least about 4 out of those 9 starters that did not practice. And, of course, the one that always gets passed, remember, with it being on this day, it's usually called Wednesday as opposed to Wednesday. So he always normally does not practice on this day. Juju Smith-Schuster, who suffered a toe injury in the game. Remember, he got caught from behind, I believe it was by Winovich, and he got his foot caught up under him, and his toe was stepped on. He was limited today. You had Sean Davis, who's still dealing with the ankle injury. Not too sure about his stats. probably expect him to miss another game. He was limited today. I mean, that's a good sign at least. At least he was able to practice a little bit, but just on a limited basis. We'll see how that spells out for the rest of the week as we go into Thursday, Friday, the next few days here, next 2 days from now. One name that jumps out here, I think this would be very key right now. You talk about the Steelers who've been getting chewed alive on those shallow crossing routes by the New England Patriots. This did not seem to have any answer whatsoever for Brady with that. And a lot of people get a little frustrated, a little antsy with Keith Butler's play calling at times. But like I said, I think Joe Hayden right now, that's definitely an eye-popping concern right now. A guy who they signed a new 3-year deal last Labor Day, pretty much. And when you look at it there, the guy, I mean, he did not practice today. Let's see how it spells out for the rest of this week. Obviously, he's got a few more days trying to show some encouraging signs. Maybe we'll see. But I tell you what, if there's one guy I do not want to see missing this game, you want to be part of a defense that can reestablish itself and get back to going back to business and doing it in a convincing, encouraging way. The guy I have concern with is definitely Joe Hayden right there. I mean, he's obviously the veteran. He's 30 years old. I mean, definitely he's up there in age when you think about it. And you look at all the stuff that he's definitely put up as far as like being loyal to the Steelers ever since joining them in 2017. I definitely feel like he is going to be very key right there. Because remember, Russell Wilson definitely he's starting to become an elite passer little by little. He's definitely gradually getting better as time goes on. And I think another one too, Marquise Pouncey, he was kind of expected not to practice. But I mean, and then T.J. Watt was limited. But we also found out too about a couple days ago that Roosevelt Nix, and the reason why he did not play any of the game on Sunday night was due to a knee injury. And his time is still like unknown. I mean, it could still be a few more games. We're not sure how much more he's gonna be out for. But I gotta tell you though, Roosevelt Nix has definitely been a very decent, valuable asset to the Steelers in more ways than you could think of. He's definitely the jack of all trades, if you ask me. Whether you want to get some good short yard situations where he could make some quick passes or some running plays every now and then. I mean, Roosevelt Nix, I cannot begin to tell you how much undervalued this guy gets on his team when you look at it. And I really think he's just shown a lot of heart and a lot of willpower for this team ever since playing with this organization, if you ask me. I mean, he's definitely been there on a lot of like key moments there. I mean, he's just where I'd be blocking or just make some decent running or receiving plays. Roosevelt Nix, I mean, I think that's definitely one concern right there you have. I mean, the question is, when you look to turn things around and the Steelers, I mean, right here, I mean, the only other guy aside from the stars you got who's who had limited practice today was Zach Banner. He's the backup right tackle on that offensive line. And the only other guy that had like an illness today was James Conner. He was limited today. And so that's pretty much it right there. But I mean, it does sound like I said, I repeat, Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquise Pouncey, T.J. Watt, and I won't worry about too much about James Conner or Zach Banner. But I mean, those three guys primarily should be ready to go this Sunday when they get ready for their matchup. And I think that's definitely very encouraging right there, if you ask me. I mean, Mike Tomlin felt pretty assured about that. He was definitely asked about questions right now as far as like how they're going to be utilizing at the fullback position right here when we look at it as we take a look at everything. And here's what he had to say as far as like his ideas as far as with the fullback. Take a listen to Coach Tomlin right here.
You know, we have some candidates. You know, we spent some time, as we always do, looking at other options in areas where we don't have a lot of depth. The fullback position is an area that we don't have a lot of depth, so we're not opposed to looking at other people. We spent some time looking at defenders in the spring and summer, but we're also capable of looking at and utilizing tight ends, which we've done in the past quite regularly.
And there you have it, though. I mean, utilizing some tight ends right there. I mean, he's definitely said he hasn't had much of depth so far as like a fullback before in the past. But I mean, you have it right there, a usual Mike Tomlin answer right there. And no respect to the guy, but I mean, just definitely very on guard right there. You know how Tomlin likes to shoot right there when it comes dealing with the media and with the press at times. And I think, I'm with him on that. I think you have to take it from that perspective right here. I mean, this is going to be a time right now where it's going to beg the question right now, how much do we get to see Benny Snell make his debut as far as in short yard situations? Because that was one of the things that was really scary in that first game. I mean, if they would have went for it on that goal line, I'm not so sure the way the Steelers are playing that night would have made it unless you adjust the play calling style right there. I mean, you got to try and go for it up the middle, hand it up the middle, not pitching out right there. I think those are definitely some major concerns right there. And you just couldn't, it was not a safe night to roll the dice on the Steelers in those situations. I'm sorry. It really was not. I mean, when you really think about it, I mean, this is definitely something right here you got to think about. Like, I mean, it just comes down to execution. I mean, but like I said, I looked at it, they got out. The Patriots had more endurance. It was more the third down conversions. It was a rhythm that the Steelers failed to get on that night, and they also just ran to a great defense by the Patriots. I mean, as always, when you look at the defensive mastermind of a guy like Bill Belichick, and think about a guy like Pete Carroll right here who they're coming against. I mean, grant the Seattle Seahawks team right here, they're not the Legion of Boom. I mean, when you really think about things, I mean, obviously, I mean, they definitely got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. I mean, trying to make the playoffs for 2 straight years. I mean, they only missed it, I mean, last in the 2017 season right there. And what can you say? I mean, when you look at it right there, the Seattle Seahawks, which by the way, were last in the top 10 as far as like a total defense overall. When you think about it, was back in 2017 when they were ranked 4th. Since then, I mean, and that year they missed the playoff, as a matter of fact, by the way. And since then, I mean, they came back to the playoffs at 16th overall. And this year, I mean, not so much of a astounding start. I mean, obviously they gave up 20 points to the Bengals, but they're ranked 23rd right now, start off the league at 429 yards given up. And why was that? I mean, a big reason for that? I mean, simple. I mean, one of the biggest reasons they gave up a lot of yards in the air attack by the Bengals. I mean, Andy Dalton, who has a stellar game, passed for like over 400 yards. I mean, one key thing right here, I mean, when you look at the Seattle matchup right here, is definitely going to be their run defense right there. And they only, to their credit, in that opening game, allowed 34 yards, about 2.4 yards a carry overall. And let's take a look at the injury report as far as the Seattle Seahawks are concerned on the opening drive here. I mean, so right now, when you look at it, I mean, you got like 3 guys who are actually 4 guys that are eye-popping concerns right now who, as a matter of fact, were listed on the injury list and 3 of those guys did not practice. Those three guys that did not practice were defensive tackle Poona Ford. Then you got Tedrick Thompson, who's a safety, dealing with a hamstring injury. You got Ford, who's got a calf injury. Both of those guys did not practice. And the final guy that did not practice was Tyler Lockett. He did not practice. And then you got Jadeveon Clowney right now, who is limited in practice. That's Seahawks defensive end they acquired from the Houston Texans at the end of the preseason, I believe via trade, if I'm not mistaken. And then you also got, right now, you also had 2 starters who were full participants in practice today. That was tackle Dwayne Brown with a knee injury, and of course, tight end Will Dissly right there, both full participants. So altogether, the Seattle Seahawks at the injury report, they had 15 players overall listed on the report while the Steelers had about 10 guys overall, 9 of them being your starters right there. I mean, that was definitely the biggest thing right there as we look at it. So I'm going to tell you right now, after seeing that, I mean, definitely, I mean, you got to think right now how much you're going to be able to take advantage of a team who's without like Richard Sherman and those bad band of brothers right there on that Seahawks team, the former Legion of Boom. I tell you what, right now, the biggest I think that's gotta be one of the game plans right there. I mean, listen, I mean the run defense did it pretty darn good. And then I mean, if I'm the Seahawks, I'm forcing Ben Roethlisberger to go the air attack here. And that's one thing I'm definitely not going to play around with. I mean, when you look at it here, because Ben Roethlisberger, who overall, I mentioned it in like a report, whenever he has like around 50 passes or more, he's about 21, 36, and 1 as a starter. So he's about 15 games under 500. And I gotta believe that's right there what you want to do. You gotta believe that Pete Carroll's definitely taking notice of a lot of those missed drops by the Steelers. I mean, in the opening game on the road against the Patriots in Gillette Stadium, right there. I mean, you gotta think right there. I mean, you gotta be encouraged defensively. I think that's gonna be the biggest it factor. Are we gonna see a running attack where we stop this like sharing the ball right now throughout the game? But I mean, you let James Conner be your bell cow, then you plug in Jalen Samuels, and then if you have a lead and you got a good defense throughout this game, do you let a guy like Benny Snell come out, make his debut, and grind out some tough yards? Remember, that's what made Benny Snell famous when he was in Kentucky, was his short yards situations. Again, anyway, if you guys want to feel free and call in on the show, I more than welcome you. I want to hear from you. I'm here for you, the fans, right now. The number is 312-209-2232. Again, that number is 312-209-2232. You could also hit me up on Twitter at Prodigy Richie. You can also check me out on my Instagram stream, which is Metasteel Nation. And then, of course, you could also check out my YouTube channel, Metasteel Podcast. And also, a little bit before we get moving a little forward, I want to give a special birthday shout out to one of my good friends and colleagues, a very great guest of the show. I consider you a colleague, my friend, and you've definitely been very inspirational to me as far as in my media career. I want to say happy birthday to Brian Diardo right now of CBSSports.com, who also still interacts on 247 Sports on Facebook Live. Love having you on the show, Brian. I hope you're enjoying your day. I hope you're having a blessed one. Stay golden, my friend. Brother, it's always a pleasure staying in touch with you throughout this time. So I hope you're enjoying your day real quick. Feel free, everybody, to wish my man, Brian Diardo, who can be followed on Twitter at Brian Diardo. It's capital B, capital D, capital A. Definitely got some great content all the time. Always being all in and bringing it each and every time, and definitely one of my favorite reliable sources I love to hear when it comes not just for Steelers but football, which he does cover around the NFL, and he just does a damn good job. It just continues to cease to amaze me every time he hits it up. So, my friend, I hope you're really enjoying this. Please allow us to soak in with your day and let the moment be yours, my friend. So now let's take a look at some other stuff here as we're looking at on the opening drive too. It was also noted too by Mike Tomlin. It almost seems like right now a lot of people who fought Devin Bush, I mean, being in the inside linebacker position, he probably be one of the guys wearing the headset and his helmet to be communicating play calls. But I tell you what, one name who I cannot argue with here, and with Devin Bush being a rookie, he's definitely proven he's ready for the big stage right now as he led the team with tackles in his first game. I definitely tell you right here, TJ Watt, right here, this is the guy right here who you can't help but admire work ethic every time you see it. I mean, this guy, I mean, with his brother JJ Watt, I mean, just the way they train. I remember hearing a story where they have about 3,000 calories they consume, and then they'll have about 20 gallons of water. I kid you not. I'm not trying to exaggerate anything, but just goes to show you how much of his commitment to excellence is with his brother. I mean, his genes, I mean, when they try and go all in their football careers as we look at everything. But yeah, you think about these guys; these definitely are a band of brothers right here. When you look at it, and T.J. Watt, when being addressed about him wearing the green dot on this, uh, Mike Tomlin had this to say real quick in regards to that when it comes to on the defense. Take a listen.
Obviously, with the way that we were rotating our inside linebackers situationally, those guys were moving in and out of the game. There would be more fluidity if we had to dot on Watt, and that's why we did it. We'll make those decisions week to week as we define our roles and as we gain traction in that regard. He's a capable guy, good communicator and leader, non-issue there in terms of what he's capable of doing.
Yeah, and I can't help but not disagree with Mike Tomlin right there. When you look at a guy like T.J. Watt, which I was surprised was not named as a captain this year. I probably expected probably his fourth or fifth year. A guy who's definitely been doing very well. He led the team in sacks about a year ago. You just look at his determination, his work ethic. Always seems to be making a play. It definitely seems to be, one of the biggest grinders on that. And when you look at it overall, TJ Watt, I cannot argue with him not having that. I think, he's definitely, in my opinion, if it wasn't like Devin Bush, who they invested like moving up 10 spots to grab him, number 10th overall, you can't go any wrong with that guy. That guy is always a workaholic beast every time he comes into it, always putting his butt on the line, like I said, when you look at it. And like I said, I really believe right now, it's encouraging that he was just at least limited. So he's definitely showing some signs of being there for the team. Hopefully, let's see what he does on the next couple days of practice on Thursday and Friday as we take a look at with everything as we move forward throughout this time. But also, let's wrap up one thing, too. A few more notes here. We also had Jayrone Elliott. He was called up to replace Josh Dobbs on the 53-man roster as Devlin Hodges gets brought back and sent to the practice squad. Jayrone Elliott, like I said, replaces Joshua Dobbs, remember, who got sent to the Jacksonville Jaguars on Monday for a 2020 fifth-round draft pick. Hodges, he was released at the end of the preseason. He initially made the Steelers' 90-man offseason roster as a rookie minicamp tryout. He had record saying he was record-setting quarterback at his time in Stafford, where he appeared in 3 of the Steelers' 4 preseason games. As Noah completed nearly 53% of his passes for 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So, which currently tells you right now, currently on the active roster, you got 2 quarterbacks right now, Ben Roethlisberger and Mason Rudolph right now. So that's definitely a very interesting tale. It's been a long time. Mark Kaboly of The Athletic, he was speculating when's the last time that happened. He was guessing around 2000. When's the last time they had about 2 guys on that quarterback right there. So that's one thing to wrap up right here. And now let's get ready to go into fair or foul here on this edition of the Mad Steel podcast real quick. As we just learned too, and I think this is definitely a guy who many people lived in their fears and probably not want to see let slip away. I'm talking about another undrafted prospect, Tuzar Skipper, who's a good outside linebacker for the Steelers. He's no longer with the team, as a matter of fact. He's now with the New York Giants. He got poached, from the practice squad. When you're on the practice squad, you're pretty much vulnerable to be claimed off waivers right there on that. So when we look at it real quick here, fair or foul question topic number 1, and this is by Mark Kaboly. Not a good look for the Steelers where Jai Holton, who had 18 snaps in the Patriots game, worth losing to the guy who had 5 sacks in the preseason. I'm definitely going to say fair on that one. No offense, though, because when I look at the main reason for that is Ola Adeni right here. Ola Adeni's definitely got some flashes of being a true eventual great outside linebacker on this team. Like I said, he's definitely been getting a lot of comparisons to a guy like James Harrison, Debo right there. But like I said, the only thing is, like I said, it's not always your ability, but your availability sometimes that ultimately matters right there. And that was definitely a diamond in the rough right there where the Steelers could use. So, do you have any more injuries? That's one thing to look at for. And last but not least, fair foul topic number 2. Expect future opponents to attack a major weakness in the Steelers' defense to crush defending the shallow crossing routes. I'm going to say foul on that one for right now. And the only reason why I'm going to say foul on that one because we have seen flashes of the Steelers' passing defense still improve. I mean, last year you'll finally see them take some advantages of some pick sixes. I mean, yeah, it's not necessarily running like the length of the field, but I mean, last year on passing defense, the Steelers still ranked about 10th. And then you also had in 2017, they're in the top 10 as far as passing. They're ranked 5th overall. And a lot of that was due to a guy like Ryan Shazier. Listen to me. I've always said right there, one of the biggest things I say on my wish list I want to see is a pick six. I mean, take away for a score, a strip fumble return for a touchdown, or a shutout. And I definitely feel like right there, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, those are some things to like really be concerned with. And this is where I think Keith Butler continues to get the heat right now because he hardly ever adjusts his game plan right there. So I really got to believe right there. You know what? I'm just going to say foul on that one for right now. I do believe adjustments are going to be made. I still like to give like a guy like Steven Nelson another chance. It's only the first game. I mean, but the biggest thing is too is going to be incumbent how Sean Davis comes back from injury. So I'm not gonna buy into the fact that they're going to be beat on quick slants and they're going to be burned all year. I've seen this pass defense improve little by little the past few years. The only problem is, though, like I said, they just seem to play for more 4 and outs versus getting a lot more takeaways. And like I said, if they aim for at least at like 30 number of takeaways on defense, which could help the turnover ratio, I think that could definitely spell things dramatically. And that's going to do it for this edition here of the Meta Steel podcast right here. I just want to say thank you to those of you who tuned in, spent a moment of your time real quick. Like I always said, I definitely want to just leave on closing thoughts. 9/11, prayers, love, and deep thoughts to all the people who lost loved ones, family first and foremost, loved ones and friends on that tragic doomsday day back in 2001. Still a sickening day right there, as a matter of fact. But you saw how it eventually helped change awareness in this country as being on guard right there. And of course, Sam Davis, former 4-time Super Bowl champion, left guard for the Steelers, 75 years old. He's found dead. I'm not sure exactly what the cause of death. I hope it wasn't suicide, but I mean, when you ever leave like a clinic like that, I guess all bets are off what could have happened. So keep him in your prayers as well, people, and his family. Much love being spread out to him. As we got, remember, tune this Friday, the debut of A Football Life with Terry Bradshaw. He's going to be the latest one on there. And then that's about it. But again, as always, you can follow me on Twitter at Prodigy Richie. You can also check out my Instagram page, Meta Steel Nation. And of course, check out my YouTube channel, Meta Steel Podcast. As always, leave you. Don't be trolling, be rolling. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. And God bless the USA. I gone.